Hello, folks. We're going to be joining the Miami Marlins, finishing up a series at Yankee Stadium against New York. Um, if you look at the um, opening screen, you can see the records and whatnot. I'm going to go ahead here in just a moment and take you into Strat PC so we can take a look at the standings because we're a few games further into the season since the last recording. I'm your host, Tenacious Earl, and we're going to go through, I'm going to pretty much go through my rest checks and everything and just go ahead and take it from the top, so to speak. I have rolled weather because um, I've done this where I've set it all up before in the past and then had the weather come up with 20 and a lot, and for the stadiums where rain is actually possible, I use 20 as the rain roll, which means I would have to delay it to another day, so postpone it. So it did not come up 20, it came up 17. So we'll take a look at the ballpark weather chart here shortly. Hello, Ali Nimela. Good to see you. So it's been a few days. I've been in a little bit of a break from rolling games in this. I was last weekend. I was really focused on it, and then yesterday got a couple games in, so that's good. And we're gonna get a game in here right now, or very shortly once I get set up. And let's go ahead into the old uh, Stratomatic, the PC, and let's go ahead and take a look at our league stats, if you will. Hopefully you can see those. The Mets, 1.5 games ahead of the Marlins. Marlins and the Yankees played a doubleheader yesterday, and it's funny. It was actually the second doubleheader in a row for Miami. They had a rain out with the Mets, so um, basically they played two doubleheaders in a row. I don't think that would happen in real life, but at that point I was kind of tough to make a change, so I just played it that way. So Miami is a little short bullpen wise, but they'll be able to make it through. This is going to be the first game for Andrew Cashner after his trade from San Diego over to Miami. So he's going to get the start here this afternoon for the Marlins, and for the Yankees, it'll be Luis Cessa getting a kind of a spot start again because of the doubleheader situation, needing another starter in the rotation. But you can see, so Miami now in second place, firmly a game and a half behind the Mets. The Padres, surprising, 2 games back. They have been up against, let's see, who is there? Is it Pittsburgh, maybe? Uh, Let me see. Yeah, San Diego, I believe they've beaten Pittsburgh 2 games in a row, and you can see Pittsburgh's in a bit of a fall here. Toronto, they're 4 games back of the Mets, so that's the last playoff spot. And then right behind them, Pittsburgh, who are, I don't think I have, let's see, last 10 is right here. Pittsburgh, they are 2-8, if you can see right there. So they're in a bit of a free fall. The Yankees, they've won 2 in a row, so they swept that doubleheader, and they're looking for a series sweep here. Um, the Marlins have lost 4 in a row, so that's not so good for them. They were doing pretty well. Of course, the Mets, um, though they are 8-2 in this stretch, they have lost their last game, so Marlins haven't lost a ton of ground. But you can see here, rounding out the standings from Baltimore at 16 and 18, down to Oakland, Detroit, both with 19 losses, and then both 21 losses. The Yankees and the Angels. Yankees looking to make it 15 wins and draw within 3.5 of the playoff picture. At least, well, they could draw within 4 of the playoff picture, and then depending on what the Blue Jays do in their game later today against, here you go, Detroit. So this is my schedule here today, and it's going to be the Marlins and the Yankees. So bring it back here, and I'm going to go ahead and do this, and I'm going to have to flip this. So bear with me. If you get vertigo, then this won't do it, but it might. You never know. Hello, hello. We're at a place called Vertigo. And I'm just going to try and zoom this in a little bit here, so bear with me again as I do a little bit of adjustment to my camera. All right. That'll be a good start. Okay, so I haven't done any of the lineups or anything, but we do have the 17 on the D20 for the weather, and if we go to Yankee Stadium, I came up with this little auxiliary chart for my particular league. So it's a day game on a 17 is going to be average conditions, so that's 3s on the single, ballpark singles, and then a 19 for lefty homers and a 16 for righty homers. So definitely a park that the ball juices out of there. So, one moment as I put that back. I also put a couple of like defensive stat type things on there as well, just for my own help later on. One moment here as I look at no other comments yet. That's cool. It's early in the process right now. Oh, I'm gonna use a couple new dice. So I got some new dice here from my local game store. That's kind of exciting. I'm happy to use those. That's kind of in the style that I've seen baseball demos and a couple of others they've been using. Obviously, everybody knows how to read normal dice, but I don't know. Wanted something different. I was out there. I was looking for a dice tower, actually. I can't find one, so I'm looking. I want to look for one that's pretty, like, what's the word? I guess casual looking, like not too funky, not too. I don't need any like castles or anything that's, you know, overboard, so to speak. Just want something that will maybe have a little felt on the bottom, so I might just have to go and do a little bit of looking there in some of the various sites. Hello, Brandon Baker. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people have. I do kind of like that they're blue, so this is kind of good for the Yankees that they're blue, I guess. The Yankees being the home team. And I got a blue, dark blue. I lost another dark blue D20 that I had, so I was using a light blue, and that's not really Yankeeville, huh? All right, so I actually have to do this right now. Haven't done it yet. I have to go find the Padres, and we're going to do the transaction right now. And actually, I should look and see what other transactions happened in that, so we do it. But we've got, let's see, where is Cashner? Andrew Cashner's right here. It's a Miami card. From the San Diego deck, you can see here there's Christian Friedrich. And we'll put those back away. Yeah, let's take a look here real quick. I've got Cashner up on my phone. Cashner pages. Where do we have the transactions? You know what? I think we're gonna have to look at the San Diego chart, the San Diego page on the Baseball Reference, and go to transactions and find out who they traded along with Cashner. I seem to recall that it may have been Colin Ray might have been in that deal, but that may have been a separate deal. It was kind of a strange. All right, so Upton was traded. We already did that. Cashner, Tayron Guerrero, and Colin Ray, and cash to the Marlins for Carter Capps, Luis Castillo, Jared Cozart, and Josh Naylor. So I think I already made the move with. No, there's Cozart there. Cozart's going to go over now. Also, the Padres trade Matt Kemp to the Braves for a minor leaguer. But then, like August 1, another trade happens. Luis Castillo goes to the Marlins, who I believe he is now a pitcher for them, a starting pitcher. And then Colin Ray goes back. So Ray goes I think this was one of the more controversial parts. Is Ray may have gone and started a game for Miami, and so maybe I should be using Colin Ray here, but I'm going to go ahead and use Cashner because I got to look at my chart here. Did I? Actually, Colin Ray, he may start the next one after that. We'll see. I might just try and slip him in there as well and get Cozart. So Cozart's going to go over to the Padres. So I'd already put the cards away, but I need to keep doing that. So part of my league, I have to do these changes every so often. I rotate in guys. So there's Colin Ray. So he has no team affiliation on his card. See that? No team affiliation. So he's going to end up with the Marlins. And Cozart's going to come over here to the Padres. I have to find out where he's going to fit into the rotation. So, anywho, so we'll do that. So Colin Ray will start the follow-up game, so that way we get him in there. And so that means, because they were short a starter anyway. All right, so we're going to put these guys right up here, and here's our offensive players, and here is the shredded bullpen for Miami. All right, so I'm going to roll. I like to roll this guy, which is basically the color of the away team, as far as not the color, but I always like to have the home team being like the same color as the home team. And I'll roll one of their dice for the so it'll be off the usage chart. It'll be 1, and so that is center field and third base from last game are going to be checked. So that's going to be a great question. It's not on the back side of this, right? Oh, it is. There we go. So the back side of this is the game from late last night, where the Marlins lost 11-4 to the Yankees. So 8-5. So it's going to be Ozuna and Prado are going to be checked. Marcell Ozuna and Martin Prado. Where are you, Marcel? There you are. And then the DH, but we aren't using DH. So there's a chart. This is always on. So we're playing super advanced. So we're using super advanced, and you can see here my chart has been it's been ripped. I can't help it. I'm sad. I need a new one. I need to order a new one. I don't want to. It's right here. There's a solitaire rest chart that I follow, and so it's based on the total, basically plate appearances, but it's at bats and walks. And so you can see Prado had 650 plate appearances, roughly. So he gets to start because he's over 600. Marcell Ozuna, he is right at 600. So 600 plus. So neither of those guys need to sub. So we can go ahead and use their full strength team. So I got to get the rest of their player cards. And they had kind of they had switched out some guys anyway in the previous game. Hechavarria did not play. Gordon did. I believe. Let's see. Yeah, who? There was another guy in the outfield who didn't play. Was it Steve? No, they all played. Chris Johnson didn't play at first, and let's see, with Sessa, they're still probably going to go with. If I check my figuring, how's that for my highbrow English? I have this listed as when Derek Dietrich is supposed to be the first baseman, so like the first choice for them. So he will go play first. Real Muto will get the start at catcher. He didn't play in the second half. And then you got Giancarlo Stanton out there in right field. And that will be the defensive lineup for the Marlins. Pretty much a full-blown lineup for them. So they've been having troubles. So let's see. We did Gordon Asuna. We're still going to lead off with Gordon. Let's find another guy. Because, let's see, Asuna went 1 for 4. Not too bad. Let's stick with it. Let's stick with Asuna. Go with Yelich and Stanton. Let's try the same lineup again. Dietrich, Prado. Go with Real Muto, even though that's low for him in the lineup. Okay, Hechavarria for Rojas. And then you've got Cashner, who goes with batting card number 2 right here. And I'll fill those in a second because I still want to use this side of the page because I have to go with the Yankees now. So they're going to be 3, which is 4, 2, and 7. So that's McCann at catcher. That's Ron Torreyes, who is going to rest because he is definitely under 375 plate appearances. So this is the Yankees post Chapman. They really didn't get much out of him. They have not played well. But he has gone to the Cubs. And after this series, Miller will be going to the Indians. And so that's... so let's get it's going to be McCann, Torreyes, and 4, 2, 7. So 7 was Gardner, who is actually injured. But the way I'm playing injuries at this point, I'm going to say they can pinch hit, but they're just not going to be able to start. So in any regard, Gardner was going to be injured for 3 games. He rolled a 20 on the D20, and I'm cutting him because he's at 600, down to 3 games out. I've actually considered cutting him even less than that. But so McCann, 483. So on the chart there, 483 means he has a 50% chance of having to rest. 1 to 10, and it's 20, so he doesn't have to rest. He will play again. Ronald Torreyes, only 165, so he sits. So let's come up with our lineup for the New York Yankees. We got Gregorius at short. We'll go with Headley again at third. Probably should try to throw A-Rod in there, but he's not that good. So in this season, this is his retirement season. Mark Teixeira. So Hicks usually plays right at this point in the season, but we're going to play him in left. We're going to play Beltran. I think this might be Beltran's last game. And then Castro at second. So the question would be whether we want to take out Teixeira, and I really don't. Although Teixeira, you look at his numbers, not very good. On base, below 300. Of course, A-Rod, below 250. So pretty sure, pretty sure we're just going to leave it the way it is. Want to give the Yankees the best chance they can right now. And I don't know. I could go with A-Rod, but he never played a position in that season. He was always DH. But let's go with basically the lineup pretty close to what they had. Now Ellsbury will lead off in center. And then Gregorius. Now we had Ref Snyder at first. We'll just sub in Teixeira there. We will use Hicks, who's in left today. We will slide Beltran in before McCann. And then we'll do Headley, Castro. And it's funny, in this game I used the old pitcher in the 8-hole. I'm not going to do that here. So Sessa is a number 1. And now I'll fill in the chart now that I got both lineups set up here. So it's going to be Cashner, and Sessa. Get this out of the way so I can see. Let's see. Let's see. D. Gordon back from his suspension. I believe that was a PED suspension. And Marcell Ozuna. Again, we're using the same lineups as yesterday. Gordon was, what, 17? That's right, 13. And Ozuna in center field is 3, -3, E6. Christian Yelich, now a Brewer, but everybody remembers his days in Southern Florida. Brought that team to just about being where they were a contender again for another World Series, but just couldn't take it over the line. Aside from the Phillies, NL East pretty competitive in that time frame. Stanton and Wright. Part of the reason I like doing these Tenacious Baseball League games and the leagues itself is because of situations like that where you have a team who is pretty good and they just get they're basically victims of misfortune based on the way the league is structured, the wild cards and such. So hopefully this gives them kind of a second chance in a way that they get to play against a randomly selected batch of other teams, and they get to sort of like stack up against hopefully a representative field of teams instead of maybe being in like those NL Central teams or NL Central back in like mid 2000s when it just seemed like everybody was pretty good. Okay, so Real Muto liable for a throwing error on a stolen base. He's 1 to 16 if you get that 1 through 3 check on the stolen base roll. Okay, Hechavarria, big name to right. Shortstop. Played some disc golf this morning. It was a nice day out, really muggy. So maybe some people would think that's not nice. It's okay by me. Not the end of the world. You just live with it and deal with it. Cashner. Oh, he's a 1 to 15 speed guy. So that's pretty good. 3E0 on the defense. That sets up the Marlins. Now the Yankees. Jacoby Ellsbury. Oh. I've been doing capitals, and I like to be consistent, and so I'm going to have to... Ellsbury, center field. Then we had Gregorius, shortstop. Teixeira. First base. Hicks out and left. Getting the start for the injured Brett Gardner. That's a left field. Beltran in what could be his last. It is his last game as a Yankee. Trying to make it sound like they've been hearing the trade rumors. Brian McCann catching. Oh, by the way, the other thing about this with this particular series ending is, for all of you who would be most interested in sort of the next generation of Yankees, the next series is when Aaron Judge and Gary Sanchez are activated. So series 13 of 18. Headley at third base. So McCann will play a good bit of first base instead of Teixeira. And he'll also be sort of the reserve catcher for Sanchez. And obviously with the trade of Beltran, and also, he basically supplants Hicks. He kind of like goes over top of him, Judge does. So Starlin Castro is going to be at second base and batting the 8 hole. And finally, it'll be Luis Cessa. Whenever I see Cessa, I think of Cessna, like the airplane. So Cessa, no extra rating there, so he's a 10 on the speed, and he is a 2E20. It's a pretty good range, and so I think that sets us up to be ready to go here. So it's going to be Cessa out there to face, as some call the Evil Empire, the New York Yankees. So let's get this all set up and ready to go, and we're going to go ahead and play us some baseball on a Saturday afternoon when we really would just love some regular old baseball, don't we? Back to using my other sheet here. This goes by innings, so if I make a mistake, don't worry about it. I'll see it. All right. I hate that this chair squeaks. See the process, starting lineup usage and player rest. Wondered about those. Yeah. So I definitely like using that. It makes me use other players. The double headers I like because that also makes me. I intentionally try when there's a double header to anybody who comes up on the roll. I try to sub them and use. I mean, unless they've played just about every game, then maybe I wouldn't. But I try to keep it where, like in a lot of double headers, teams are going to use the backups some because it's kind of a good day to give a rest to your guys. If they've been working hard, get to the dog days of summer. It's hot, humid. But yeah, the rest process, it's 2 phases. You have the D6 roll, which gives you, that's this little chart here on the back of the super advanced charts. Whatever the result is, I go by the guys who started the previous game. Some could go by who the starters actually are. Roll 1 die to determine the starters that might have to rest. So maybe you should go, if you prefer to go by the guys who should start, have at it. It's up to you. I like using the game before because I feel like that's just a little more. It also prevents if I roll the same roll that 2 days in a row that I'm not going to have to sit the same guy. Just seems a little more realistic. And then, so yeah, you take your bats plus walks. Like I said, that's kind of like the rudimentary way to figure out your plate appearances. Find the range that fits, and then it gives you the range that when you roll a D20. And all right, we're going to get started here. I'm trying not to waste time by talking, but I don't know. I like having a place where we can be helpful. New guys, got new dice, nice. So, and the other thing I was out, the reason I went to the store, I wanted to find a dice tower. I'm ready to kind of like put this guy away. What would be nice be to keep all my dice in this box. It's kind of a nice little box for that. If I can get a dice tower, but I couldn't find a good one there at the store, so I'm a little bummed, but next time. All right, so D. Gordon facing Luis Cessa in the third game, this getaway game for the Marlins, and it is a 4-7 against a lefty, and that's going to be early trouble for Cessa. This thing is going to find the gap. Can it get cut off by the center fielder Ellsbury? It's a 20, so yes, it will. So that's a single for D. Gordon. So Luis Sessa and Brian McCann are +2. So D. Gordon has his steal rating as 2 to 6. Have to try and get him a steal here, right? But you have the chance for the pickoff. So he cannot get a good lead now, but if it's 1 to 15, he's safe. And it's 19, he is picked off. Luis Sessa with a great move, and Gordon is caught off of first base, and that does not make the manager happy. So Ozuna with 1 out. Another 4-7 against a righty this time. That's a 1 to 8 single. That's another 19, so that's a liner to second. So we're testing these dice out too. Had some. So that's a 2-3 lefty against righty, and that's a grounder to second. Up with that is Castro, throws to first and Teixeira, and that retires the side. So base running boo-boo by D. Gordon, and we're going to the bottom of the first, no score. The other thing I've been noticing with my rolling, and I'll show you what I'm doing here now, or this time. I've noticed when I just pick them up and bang, roll them again, the variability seems to be a lot better. It seems like I get more repeat rolls when I sit there and shake them. I don't know if it just lets something settle out, or if it's just like the rhythm gets it to, I don't know. It seems wacky, but if I just pick them up and go bang like that, there's a 111 for Ellsbury against the right-hander Cashner, ballpark single. 1 to 3, so only 15% of a chance, and it's a 5. That will be a liner caught by D. Gordon for the out. So now Gregorius, 3-12, hit by pitch and an injury, potentially. Let's roll it out. There's a 9. So 9 is 1. I'm going to say he's not injured because of 1. I figure we have to get up to at least 3 to get a 1-game injury. I'm sick of too many injuries. So I'm kind of like taking, and especially since the way that I do. Let me just show you here real quick. I have these charts. I have these charts here that I vary the guy based on the series. So this is where you can see, like, Aaron Judge is coming in for Series 13 right there for Hicks. Now Hicks is going to go and be the backup, but you get what I'm saying. Like, so a guy like Brett Gardner, he's going to get injured right here too for a little bit. Hicks is going to take over for a series. So I've already figured in injuries to an extent. So that's where I'm saying I would prefer to just not let the game-generated injuries take too much of an effect, and I'm not 100% happy that it went. It didn't have a big effect, but maybe little bits here. So with 1 out, Gregorius. Let's see what's our so Cashner's +6, Real Muto -2, so that's a +4, and then if you factor in the 2 on the 2 subtraction on the good lead, that would take. That would be, let's see, that would be +2. So Gregorius, if he gets a lead, he needs a roll of 4, which is the total of the colored dice, the 2 blue dice. He's going to try. That would be basically a 1 to 19. You can't have 1 to 20, but it would be 1 to 19 if he gets it. So, but that's a 10, so no such luck with that. He would have a 1 to 8 if he was just, or no, it's not a 1 to 8. He'd have a 1 to 6. Because with bad lead, you have a 4 subtraction. So Teixeira, and what do we got? We have a potential balk. Cashner does not have a balk rating, so we just keep going. Teixeira at the plate, 6-12, and it's 6-12 is an injury rating or injury roll for when the DH is in. But we're not worrying about. I'm not worrying about pitchers' injuries either. So 6-12, batting from the left side, grounded at first base. Dietrich a 4 E10. They're holding Gregorius. I've been doing this series as if we're always holding, so that makes him a 5. So 5 and 16 is a G3. The runner will advance. It's going to be as long as there's no error. And Dietrich is an E10. Let me see something. Yeah, so E10, that is a 16. But for first base, that is not an error, so that will be a 3-1 put out. Gregorius moves to second base into scoring position, and so Hicks will be up. There's a 1-5. That's a walk. So first and second, 2 outs. Carlos Beltran at the plate. 4-4 left. Fly ball to center field. It's going to be Ozuna, not the best guy to have out in center. Eventually, the Marlins start using Yelich in center some, which is a little bit better. But so now he's a rated 3 out in center field. 3 and 12. He will get underneath it. Will he make the catch? That's a 13 on an E6. And he does make the play, and that will retire the side, so no runs there for New York. Top of the second inning. Let me get my chat room back up here. All right. It's going to be Giancarlo, eventually a Yankee. Stanton, 3-3. Grounder to shortstop. Gregorius throws to first in time. Dietrich, 6-4. Lefty, walks. Dietrich will try to get a lead. Needs 2 on the ad, and he doesn't get it, so he'll stay at first. Prado, 4-8, righty. Fly ball to center field. That's going to be caught by Ellsbury, and Dietrich will have to stay at first. So, Real Muto. There's a 4-5 righty, which is a fly ball to right, and that'll be caught by Beltran, and that'll do it for the top of the second. Still no score. Brian McCann. 3-7. There is going to be at least a single. 1 or 2 would be a double. It's a 6. But first hit of the game for the Yankees. McCann, yeah, they'll try and see if he can get a lead here. 2 is pretty unlikely. So no lead there. Mostly because the pitcher-catcher combo gives them a chance to have a pretty decent steal base rating and stuff. So Headley up. 3-8. That's a strikeout. 1 away. Castro. 4-9 righty. Strikeout. Cashner now with 2 in the game, back to back, and now it's going to be Sessa. Well, there's a chance to move that runner to second maybe on the passed ball. 1 or 2 for Real Muto. It's a 5, so no passed ball. 4-5. He's a righty hitter. Yes, he's a righty hitter. That's a strikeout. So he strikes out the side. Still no score. Going to the third. And so in the bottom of the third, the Yankees will have the top of the order. Hechavarria will lead off for Miami. And one moment, I want to stand up here. I've been sitting on this chair for too long. So my son ate Cracker Jack for the first time and found out he likes it, so that has kind of a baseball theme, if you will. Getting out another drink here. All right. Top of the third. 5-12 righty. That's going to be a potential single on that. What they call a ballpark correction factor. Yeah, that's what it's called here in the book. That little open triangle. Doesn't really say. Just when you're playing Super Advanced, you use that instead of the other thing in the advanced game. So I think it's just a correction for other factors that come into the game. So, but it's a 1-13, and it's a 3. So into the outfield with it is Hechavarria. It's going to give Cashner, a B bunter, a chance to lay down. The bunt, we're going to move it to C because New York will be expecting it. C7 that's a good sacrifice. It's going to be the first baseman. 3-4 will be the scoring, and Hechavarria will advance to second base. D. Gordon. (5-7). It's the lefty's grounder to second base. That would advance the runner to third if it is completed by Castro. Runner is at second. That's Hechavarria with Gordon up. He's a lefty, so that's second base. So, yeah, on the 5-7, so the second baseman is going to be the one responsible for covering the hole, so no adjustment to his rating. So Castro is a 3 and a 5. That's really close. He will be able to reach and get it. Will he make a good throw on his E14? And it's a 10, so he does. That will be the second out, and a Denny will move to third base, and that'll be Marcel Osuna with 2 away. Runner 90 feet. 3-5, and he strikes out to end the inning. So Sessa comes back and gets him, works around the leadoff single. No score going to the bottom of the third. Okay. Top of the order for the Bronx Bombers. Ellsbury lined out to Gordon to lead off the game. 4-7, lefty. And he's going to pop that right over the bag up the middle and into center field for a single. And this will be a golden opportunity to try to take a bag. That's going to be a 2. And so the 2 is in his range, so that's going to be a 16. Minus 2 is 14, and then you've got the 6 plus. The plus 6 minus 2 is 4. So 14 plus 4 is 18. 1-18 chance for Ellsbury, and he makes it. Beats the throw by a mile, and so runner at second base with nobody out. Gregorius at the plate. 1-6. That's got a chance to be a single and advance the runner to third. 1-5. It's a 17. That'll be a liner to second. Diving play by Gordon for the first out. Let's see. What do we have for Ellsbury? So Ellsbury, it'd be a 1-12, 60% chance if he can get that good lead. Let's try getting him a good lead. See if he can grab third base, give Teixeira a chance to score him on a sac fly. Needs a 2 through 5 on the total, or an 11 or 12. It's a 9, so he does not get a good lead. He can't take third anyway. But I thought 60% chance, that's worth the shot. But I mean, Teixeira might drive him in from second. So here we go, 1-7. Yeah, he's going to draw a walk. 2 on, 1 away. Aaron Hicks now batting in the cleanup spot. We don't get to re-roll again for Ellsbury. 6-4, batting from the left, catcher X. So if this gets away, that could mean both runners advance. Real Muto is a 2. So the 2 and the 3, that's going to be a wild pitch, unless there's an error. And there won't be an error, but that will be a wild pitch. So both runners move up with Hicks still at the plate. Second and third, they're going to play with the infield back. They'll take a run to get the second out. 3-6. That's going to be a grounder to short, and that will score the run, but they will get the second out. Hechavarria to Dietrich. In comes Ellsbury. Ellsbury was going to probably beat that out anyway. So, quick guy. And so Teixeira. Let me see. Ground ball A, second. I should really look at this. Ground ball A, infield back, second and third. Ground ball A, 5. If hit the second base or shortstop, batter out, runners advance a base. So it hit short. So yeah, so Teixeira also advances. Even though I think that that's a possibility. Yeah, I mean they would just want to take, if they're taking the out, they're taking the out. All right, Beltran, 2 outs, runner at third, and now here's another chance at a wild pitch. Need a 1-4 for Cashner. It's a 10, so that would have been tough. Here's Beltran, 2-8, and that's a hot shot, but right at Dietrich. Caught at first base, 1 run in, 1 hit, 1 left at third, and that gives us a 1-0 lead to the Yankees through 3. Yelich. See if the Marlins can bounce back here. What I'm going to do, let's see if I can do this. I like the other way better. I'm just starting to run out of a little bit of, I'm going to run into the border of the other inning cards at some point here. Or the other thing I could do is I could cover up some of the ratings. You guys can't see them anyway. But. Okay, Yelich, 210. Oh, 210 is going to be paid, or a double, maybe a triple on a 1. But a double for Yelich, leadoff 2-bagger. Brings up Giancarlo Stanton. 3-7. That's a strikeout. Now Dietrich. 6-7 lefty. Strikes him out. Sessa doing well here through 3 2/3. Third strikeout of the game. Prado. They're going to waste this leadoff double. 6-10 righty. That's a grounder to short. Up with that'll be Gregorius. He throws to first. And that is it for the top of the 4th. So Yelich gets on, but cannot advance any further. Dies at second, and it'll be 1-0 Yankees going to the bottom of the 4th. Okay. Brian McCann singled in the second. 2-3. 2-3. Need a 1-9 for a single here. And it's a 2. So 2 for 2 for Brian McCann. They're going to try to see if he can get a lead here. Needs a 2. Can't get it. But Headley now, 6'8", batting from the left side. There's a base on balls, so first and second, nobody out. Not looking good for Cashner right here in the bottom of the fourth. Though he does have the pitcher spot coming up after Castro. That could be a way to get out of this inning eventually. So here's Castro, 2-7, strikes him out. 1 out, and so up comes Sessa. And so do we want to bunt with Sessa for the almost sure out, or do we want to see if he's a hitter, pitches hitting card number 1? Let's go ahead and try the bunt. I think the worst thing that happens is you end up with you could always get the double play, but realistically with so he's got a rating of C, that comes to D when they expect him to bunt. So the 7 still ends up giving him a sacrifice if it comes up. Oh, there's a potential wild pitch from Cashner again. 1-4. It's a 6, so oh man, that's okay. There is a line on this guy, just barely. It's tough to see it, but so the 6 and the 16 you can see. Let me see. Does that 9 also have a line? It does. It's just not very well shaded. Anyway, so here's Sessa with the bunt attempt, and there is the 7, so that's going to be to the pitcher. 1-4. Everybody moves up a bag, and all is right in the world. Now Ellsbury with 2 outs. 1-11, and that has a chance to be a single, but it's a ballpark chance. And for this one, it has to be a 1-3. It would score a run if it comes in. It would be a 1-base advance. And it's a 3. Squirts through, and Ellsbury with a run batted in as McCann comes home. Headley will stop at third. 2-0. 2 out, run batted in for the former Boston man. And you know what? With a 2-run lead and first and third, Ellsbury has to try and get another stolen base here, right? 5 will do the job. So it's going to be 1-18 again. And he is successful. Second and third for Gregorius. 2 outs. 1-7. Struck him out. Tires aside, but not before. Another 1 put up on the scoreboard. Through 4, 2-0. Yankees. 53-minute mark. I keep going. So Cashner at 20 batters. Sessa still working on 15. But this will be his 16th. So still in good shape through 5. This is not his weakness inning. It would be the 6th, so he can at least get through the 5th here without much problem, unless something starts. Here's Real Muto, 6'9", righty. Ballpark homer for the righty, 1-16 chance. This would make it half, 2-1, and it's an 11. It's gone. Solo homer for JT Real Muto. 2-1 now. Sessa gives up the ballpark shot down in Miami. That would have been an out. Hechavarria, 1-5, grounded to second base, and that'll be Castro over to Teixeira for 1. Cashner for 7. That's going to be a potential single, 1-8. And it's a 4, so Cashner 1 for 1, plus a sack. Bunt. Brings up D. Gordon. Have I jinxed Luis Sessa here? 6'7", lefty, strikes him out. 2 away. That brings up Marcell Ozuna. 4'6", righty, and that's a single to center. Cashner's going to hold up, although he is a 15 runner. We could try to take another bag potentially. Ellsbury has no arm, and they, in holding Cashner, make it 1-14. He's going to try to take it, and we're going to say that the Yankees throw to second to keep Ozuna at first. So they're not even going to try it. So that is a 2-base advance on the single. Now Yelich, 2 outs. 6-7 lefty, struck him out again. And that will be it. That's 5 strikeouts. No, 1 run, on the homer. 3 hits and 2 left aboard. Bottom of the 5th. 2-1 Yankees. From this 2016 season. And like I said, next up, the next game for the Yankees, they will have Judge and Sanchez brought up. So we'll see how they do with 5 series left, I believe. Maybe 6 series. Okay. Mark Teixeira, 4-2. That is going to be a ballpark homer. He's hitting from the right. It's a 1-19 chance. This one is flying, and it is way out of here. Gone. That reestablishes the 2-run lead. Second leadoff homer of the inning. First Real Muto, now Teixeira. Aaron Hicks, there's a 4-10. Batting from the left. Ballpark single 1-3. It's going to be a liner caught by Gordon. Beltran. 1-3. Another ballpark single chance. 15%. No chance there. Again to Gordon, since he's hitting from the left. Now McCann. He's 2 for 2, and 6-7 is going to be a grounder to second base. And that'll be Gordon over to first and Dietrich for the out. But it's back to a 2-run lead, 3-1 through 5. Yankees on top. So now we are in. So that was Cashner's inning of weakness. Depending on what the Marlins do here, he hits in the 6th hole of this particular inning. So as long as Sessa works well here, then Cashner will probably get another inning. Sessa has given up 6 hits through 5 innings, 1 walk, 1 run on the homer by Real Muto. So Stanton, there's a 6-6 righty, and that's going to be a potential double, 1-11. That's going to be a leadoff double. Extra base hits the last 3 innings with the leadoff guy. That's going to bring up Derek Dietrich. 2-7, and he is hit by the pitch. So now the Yankees are going to have to start thinking about bullpen action. Martin Prado to the plate. First and second, nobody out. Whoops, hit the camera. Sorry about that. 1-3. That's a 1-6 single chance. It's a 16. That's a liner to short, so no advance there. Real Muto, who went deep last time. 4-9, righty, grounded to first base. They're going to get the first end of the double play, but Real Muto is going to run it out. So Stanton will cruise into third. And that'll be, so Real Muto, so that'll be a 1-4 on the force. Or no, not a 1-4, 3-4. Right. 4-9, yeah, grounded first. Okay. So now there's a dilemma. We could walk Hechavarria to get to the pitcher spot, But I think we're just going to pitch to Hechavarria here. So runners at first and third with 2 away. Another 4-9 righty. That's going to be another grounder to first, which is going to get the job done. We're going to say U3. That ends the inning, so no runs. 1 hit on the double, and that guy gets stranded. Going to the bottom of the 6th. That probably will be it for Sessa. Cashner will get 1 more inning. The Marlins, they are going to... They have a lot of bullpen shortage right now. But they could do Bear Claw. They could do Dunn. No, they can't. No, they can't do Dunn. They could do Bear Claw. Can they do Whitgren? They could probably do Whitgren. They do have Ramos available. They do not have Fernando Rodney. I don't believe they have McGowan. So they have Dunn, Ramos, David Phelps. He pitched 4 innings in a game in the other doubleheader, so that's not going to work. So they got Whitgren, Bearclaw, Dunn, and Ramos. They're going to get Whitgren up and have him pitch an inning. Well, he'll come in and pitch for Cashner. Or actually, let's get Mike Dunn out there too. He's a lefty. Depending on who the hitter is. So here's Headley on 6. Oh no! 1-9 home run to make it 4-1. Double otherwise. It's gone on a 6. 4-1. Another solo homer to lead off an inning. And so now the bullpen is in much more furious action. The manager goes out, talks to Cashner, saying, hey, we know you're still trying to sort out where you're going to live and everything. You just came over from San Diego. Just can you get through this inning? We'll give you through Sessa if you get those 2 guys out. You get Castro and Sessa out, and maybe we'll let you pitch to Ellsbury. So here's Castro. 1-7. That's a grounder to short. So there's 1 out as Hechavarria makes the play. Now Sessa, he is not going to hit. It will be... Let's go with the old A-Rod here. Pinch hitter in the 6th. 3-3, grounded to first base, so that'll be Dietrich. Covering the bag will be Cashner, and they will let Cashner face Ellsbury. Ellsbury's had his number 2 for 3 on the day. There's a 3-7, another potential single here, 1-6, 30% chance, but it's an 11, so that will be a liner to second. That will be the end of the road for Cashner, but he does get through 6 innings. 1 more run, though, 4 earned runs so far for Cashner, and that will be all she wrote for him. We're going to sit Dunn down. Whitgren will come in for an inning or 2, try and kind of shore things up a little bit. So going to the 7th, it is 4-1 Yankees. And let's see, it'll be the pitcher spot, Florida. And now we haven't done the Yankees tidy work yet. They're going to go with, let's see. Do Adam Warren. So Sessa with 6 innings pitched. And with Cashner due to hit, we're going to bring in a pinch hitter against the righty. They will go with Ichiro. So Ichiro facing Adam Warren, trying to set up the Betances and Miller show. 4-7 will be a fly ball to center field, and that'll be caught by Ellsbury for the out. D. Gordon. 1-4, ballpark single, not likely. 1-3, so that's going to be a liner to Castro, and now Ozuna. 3-10, fly ball to left field. Adam Warren gets a 1-2-3 inning as Hicks gets underneath that. So 7th inning stretch, and go ahead and stand up, sing whatever refrain you choose. You can do your favorite "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" if you want, or we got the Cracker Jack. I told you my son was eating that and he likes it. He likes it, yeah. All right, so Whitgren. He's going to pitch an inning here, I think. Actually, I was going to say 2, but let's just do 1 inning because he had 2 innings the game before. That'll render him needing a break in the next game. Cashner, 6 innings pitched. Gregorius will be the first to face Whitgren, the lefty against the righty. 2-3, ballpark single. Again, that's that 1-3 range, and that's going to be a liner to Gordon. Shura. 3-7, grounder to second. Again, that's going to be Gordon getting some action here in the bottom of the 7th. 2 away, Aaron Hicks. 4-9, batting from the left side. That's a single. So Hicks, Whitgren good at holding. We're not going to try and get Hicks a lead here, run him out of the inning. Here's Beltran with 2 outs, runner at first. 3-2, that's a ballpark single again. 1-3, going to come up one of these times, but not here. So that's going to be a liner again to Gordon. He took care of all of the plays in that half inning, and no runs, 1 hit, 1 left. All right, going to the 8th, and the Yankees will call on Dellin Betances to set this guy up. He had a rough outing recently, looking to bounce back a little bit here. Got the heart of the order, though. Not too many comments, so that's quite all right. Hope everybody is having a good Saturday. Okay. Warren with an inning pitch to hold. It's 4-1 again. And here is the Yankees on top. Here is Yelich. 1-11, grounded to second base. That's going to be Castro. Throws to first for the out. Giancarlo Stanton, 5-7, batting from the right. Struck him out. Dietrich, lefty, 5-6. And here is going to be a single, unless it's a 1-3. That's a 10. So a single. 2-out hit. Dietrich try to get a lead here. Really good opportunity if he could get it, but he doesn't. You could still get a 1-9 here on his second number, but with needing runs, they're going to go ahead and let Prado hit. And 110 is going to be a grounder to Castro, and the side will be retired. 1 hit, 1 left, no runs. 4-1 Yankees, bottom of the 8th. Miami will go back to their bullpen. Whitgren has been very busy, so they will have Kyle Barraclough Pitch the 8th here. And unless they can make a comeback, nobody's going to pitch the 9th for the Marlins. Okay, McCann, 5-3 lefty, is a fly ball to right field. That'll be Stanton, 3, range, and 18 he gets to it. That's an E6, and 12 will be in play, and he makes the play. So in that 8 to 12 magic range, that a lot of your lower E numbers, as long as you get an 8 to 12 on the sum, you're in good shape. Chase Headley, 1-7, that's going to be a single out in the left. So Barraclaw not good at holding runners. Let's see if Headley can get he needed a 6, he gets a 5, so that's not going to work. Starlin Castro, Andrew Miller in his is warming up right now, 3-7. There's another single. 2-base advance, so Headley, it'll be first and third. Headley goes to third on that. And so, pitcher spot back up. And against the righty, they'll let Brett Gardner take a swing here with the you know what? Let's not do Brett Gardner. Let's try. We would save him for like desperation. Let's do Rob Refsnyder. I know it's righty and all that, and then it would be lefty for Gardner, but so pinch hitter in the 8th, 1 out, first and third. They're going to play infield in. And 5-6 righty is a strikeout. That's a big out there for Barraclaw. So it's going to be up to Ellsbury, who's 2 for 4. 2-8. Oh, and that's a single, and that's going to score a run. That's going to make it a non-save situation for Andrew Miller, but he will still come in. That's going to be, let's see, Castro. He's going to hold up at second. So first and second, 2 away. RBI for Ellsbury. I think that's his second of the game. Yeah, he drove in McCann in the 4th inning. So here's Gregorius now. Oh, what's this? Potential balk. Barraclaw doesn't have a balk rating, so 2-5. 2-5 is more trouble. It's a double unless it's a 1. That is a double for Gregorius. And they're going to try and get Ellsbury at the plate. Castro will come in to score. There's going to be a play at the plate here. Gregorius will get third if Ellsbury is not thrown out. He's a 15. 2 outs, you get to add 2, so that's 17. He was being held, so that brings it down to 16. So there's the 16. Then, let's see, your arm is going to be for center field. That's Ozuna -3. So we had 16 -3 is going to be 13. 1 to 13 chance. Can Ozuna throw him out? Really, it's going to be like, it would be an 8-6-2 put out. Oh, and he gets him. That'll be the final out being made at the plate. That'll be an 8-6-2. And that will retire them, but they do get 2 more runs. 6-1, and it's not going to be a save opportunity, but I'll still bring in Miller. Lots of rumors he's going to get traded. Got a little info for you. He is. Psst. Yeah, he is. All right, so Miller, the enigmatic lefty, going to come in for an inning. Going to try and Keep it between the rails. 6-1. Yankees ahead. It's going to be JT leading off. 4-11 against a righty. Struck him out. 1 out. Hechavarria for 8. Struck him out. And there's nobody really to go to the bench, but they're going to have to pick somebody. Be Chris Johnson. Going to go for the power. They haven't even gotten anything off of the hitter card yet. Can they get one here? That's where Miller's actually worse against lefties than righties. Although, well, Chris Johnson's a righty, but Johnson's card is a little bit better against the lefty pitcher. So can they get it here? 3-8, though. That's going to be a ground to third base. It'll be Headley making the throw to first. And that is it. Yankees sweep the Marlins. Got this turned around for them. It's 6-1 is your final here as Luis Cessa gets a 6-inning win. The loss will go to Andrew Cashner. And no save. A couple holds from Betances and Adam Warren. But Marlins salving their wounds. They have lost 5 in a row on a bit of a plummet right now as things have just not quite gone their way. Recently, they were basically nose and nose with the Mets, and it's kind of been the same story with the Pittsburgh Pirates. Do you need some help with something? Need help? Check it out, I guess. All right. Just a couple more minutes here as I just am going to fill out a couple of the other tidbits here. 1 inning for each of these guys. There. Hey, how you doing? Haha. Isn't that nice? I probably look better upside down. Oh, that's not what I need. I need the layout, and I need to do this. See, and you probably like that better too because I'm farther away. I'm smaller. Let's let me just do this one other thing here so we're not looking like I'm here trying to check out my nose hair or anything. Just one moment. technical difficulties with the old fire stick, but we're good. Random question: what is the option rolling a 6 with a DH at bat? Yeah, so the 6-6, the 612 is a with a DH. I think that's the way for the DH. Is that the way it might be the. You know what? I think it's actually the way the pitcher gets injured for the other team, because the pitcher doesn't usually get an injury. Let's see. Let me look here in the book. Because you know, it's been a long time since that has actually come up, because I do other injury type things. So I always have the rule book next to me, because there's, with Super Advanced especially, there's so many like little one-off rules and stuff. If you are using the DH rule, injury occurs to the pitcher in the field when a white 6 and a colored dice total of 12 is rolled. So let's say you're playing with a DH and you got like Edwin Encarnacion up from the pick your team, Toronto. Then the pitcher who's pitching to him gets injured, and then you'd have to roll on the injury chart, right? It says for advanced play, refer to the injury section of the basic strategy chart, and then for super advanced, you go to the super advanced injury chart, which is as well. So here's your pitchers and strategy chart. It's on the back side of that. Again, mine's kind of like all ripped up, but it's right there. Oh, right there. Oh wait, no, that's not it. That's the starting pitcher's rest. It's this guy. But then they have another one that, this is where I was using the pitcher's injuries. This is kind of superseded it, I believe. Now where? Oh, it's right here. You can find this in their reference section. I think it's attached to the 2016 or 2015 rating situation, or like the rating sheet, roster sheet, whatever you want to call it. So that one is, the pitcher's injury chart is pretty rough. Like, it brings up a lot of results and a lot of injuries, and it can be pretty frustrating, to say the least. I think if you're just using regular old guys, like if you're using the base set, or maybe just like the base plus the extra players, not a lot of like analysis from the standpoint of which players did what when. Like, like I have it set out here in this chart here by the series, where each series I would change out guys based on the actual usage of the players throughout the season. So that's how I figured this out. It's not to the letter. Yeah, I've learned a lot through this season. Each time I do one of these, I learn more and more. It's kind of fun. That's one of the things that I encourage you about doing these things, is just don't ever get too stuck into something. I mean, you should try to be consistent in the way you do things for the most part, but make sure that it's probably good to keep a notebook and write down your observations when you find reasons why certain things didn't work out as well as you'd hoped, or ideas that you have to make things better. It's probably the best way to just keep your methods up to date, make you feel very confident in your results. And there are some oddities in this season right here. Obviously, the Yankees being really bad at this point, probably not the greatest thing in the world. Having the San Diego Padres do well, but again, we're talking 30 games. In 30 games, you can have all sorts of oddities and stuff. There was another question that came up here. regarding the 666, the pitcher has a chance for an injury. Yep. Yes, Dave, unfortunately, the game is over. But I'm sure that there will be other games to be played somewhere here on the interweb tubes. There's all sorts of guys out here now who are doing stuff. So, are sharing some of the burden. Definitely check out the other channels when you have, if I try and with my other channel, I try to like some things just so that I have some populated, like the like playlist and stuff, so that way you can find channels that have stuff like this. But yeah, really all you have to do is search on like tabletop or you know search on Stratomatic, search on Atba, search on, there's a lot of different places you can go to find, and that's not even counting some of the other games, History Maker. There's Pine Tar, there's Inside Pitch, there's, you name it. There's all sorts of different stuff out there. So, yeah, thanks for the question and for the clarification. So Brandon and DJ John kind of helping me out with that. But again, like I'd say, rule book, keep it there. Don't be sad. Don't get the feeling like, oh man, I just have to check the rule book all the time. It's okay. Take your time. Don't think that you're going to be an expert in your first game, because these games have been built, basic. You should be able to get that. You should be able to get the basic flow of that game probably from a game. But don't get down on yourself if it's taking you a little bit of time. Just be observant. I would say read. I always like to read that rule book first. Like, just sit down with it. I wouldn't take too many notes to start. I would not do that. Just, if you're a person who likes to take notes and that's just the way you do things, go for it. But, and just read the basic section. Just read it, and maybe a second time. Just try and absorb it. Then go and play a game. I would just pick a random game. Just pick 2 teams. Doesn't matter. And I would play that. I would play a series of that, or I'd play, I don't know, 4 or 5 games. What I would like to see is I want to get there and I want to play them. And, maybe I'd play the same pitchers 2 or 3 of the games, and maybe I'd switch up one. I want to feel consistency in the way things are going. I want to get confidence with the way I'm playing. I want most of the situations to emerge in a game to the point where when I face it on the fly, as I'm starting to do something that's more like a project, then I'm not feeling like I'm going to mess it up. Honestly, some of the toughest stuff in these types of games is just reading the dice right. It sounds so goofy, but I will tell you, there are so many times over the years when I have a game and someone puts in the comments, by the way, in the 4th inning, do you know that was really a 6-7 instead of a 4-7? I'm like, oh man, sorry. Do I go back and change it? That's like kind of like the umpire missing a call. But it's fine. I don't mind. I don't mind getting that. At this point, I don't. Back in the day, it made me feel pretty awful because I'm a little bit of a perfectionist in certain ways, and I don't like to mess up. But we all do, and you kind of have to learn your own human condition, which is that we make mistakes. But you want to just don't get so focused on wanting to master it right away to where you don't enjoy it because you feel like you're having to check things all the time. Heck yeah, you're gonna have to check things all the time. you're none of us are. I mean, there are geniuses, but uh, you know, even the geniuses have to read the rule book. I mean, they don't just go in there and sit there and say, you know what, Strat, I'll tell you what, I'm going to get these cards out here. I'm going to play me a super advanced game, flat cold. We're going to get her done. Yeah, man. And it ain't going to work. It's just not going to work. You do the basic. You might be able to skip the advanced, but get the basic down. Just, you know, each level adds a little bit more to it. Super advanced adds a lot, and that's where I'm like, after you get through reading the basic a couple times and playing a few games, you feel confident. You feel like, man, I think I got this basic stuff down. I don't really have to look much at anything anymore. I'm pretty chill with it. Then you get out your like note cards and you start making notes, and you're like, because I have the rule book here still, but because I'll tell you what, looking at this, I'll tell you, there are things on this sheet that if I want to find them, I'm not able to, just because I make a bad, I make a really messy, hackneyed cheat sheet. It's like some of this stuff, I at the time I wrote it, it made sense, but sometimes I look at it, I'm like, what did I mean by sack/squeeze, infield in, or corners in? Okay, that one's easy enough. All holds acceptable. What is that? Okay, so that means all holds acceptable means you can hold, in super advanced, you can hold a runner with the third baseman even on an infield in. It's fine. Don't worry about it. You can, and so for me, like I said during the game, every situation I'm holding in this from now on. I don't know if I did. I can't remember if I did it early on. I took like a 6-month break from this project. It felt really good to come back to it, but it also feels like really humbling that I've forgotten a few things. Another good reason to take notes, like in a notebook, as to trying to tell yourself how, keep consistency. But like I've got like H and R, hit and run, W 1 through 3. Okay, so I don't know what W means, but if you roll and you get the 1 to 3 on the white die, the W's white. On the white die, 1 to 3, you go off the hit and run chart on the super advanced thing. If it's 4 to 6, then you go off the pitcher's card. And then there's another little chart down there that you have to go if it's a strikeout, walk, single, or double. That there's some other adjustments. But I mean, I've got 2 of these guys that are just like all notes. And the other thing is, remember this, and you cannot underestimate this. Okay? There are lots of ways to learn, but a lot of the best ways to learn involve 3 elements. Listening, it's kind of tough for us to listen. I mean, that might be the reason why you watch a video or something. So you let's start with reading it, listening to it, and then writing it. So if you write down these little notes, that will also kind of like cause some neurons or whatever to kind of connect in your brain. And that will also kind of like help you to say, you know what? There was something about blocking the plate. What was that? And then you go back and look and say, oh, so there was a blocking the plate rule, and this is how I do it. It kind of like triggers something. Can't say that I don't ever forget stuff. I forget stuff, and it kind of irritates me. But again, take it easy on yourself. You're only human. Billy Joel sang about it, all that good stuff. So, all right. Father and son doing a Strasburg replay with inside pitch. Kid is a great commentator. Cool. I'll have to see if I can find that somewhere around here. Jerry, my longtime follower, friend, all the above. Good to see you, man. He's a long-time player, and he still gets the strange situations. So again, don't get discouraged. This stuff is definitely not easy. Here, I got to put away these cards. I'm just going to keep talking. You know, don't let yourself down by just thinking that you're never going to get anywhere by doing this or that or the other. It's all right. You know, don't expect don't expect you don't get guys like Itzhak Perlman or Roy Clark if you like country or um, you know let's see Slash. I mean those guys just don't grab their guitar at 25 and say, you know what, I'm going to rip off a solo here. No, they've been practicing since they're probably like 4 years old. So you don't get to be perfect by just trotting it out. Anyway, I've gone on a little too long. You look at here. See that? Aroldis, he is in the bottom of the deck for the Yankees. He's been traded. And guess what? I'm going to send this guy in there too because, see, I don't have the Indians in this because he would go there. But now what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to go through and adjust my bullpens and my... But, you know, like I told you before, what will make you Yankee fans happy, this guy's coming out now. Aaron Judge, he's going to find his way to the lineup. It's not so pretty this first season for him. What is a little prettier, I believe, will be this guy. He's also coming out. So, much better card. And they've kind of had sort of a... what would I call it? Reversal of fortunes, I'd say, in their career since Sanchez had a great first time up and then kind of like went to sort of middle of the road for a good bit of his more recent career. Now things are kind of like changing a bit and the things are coming to roost. But yeah, so I'm going to have to finish off. I can't do this while I'm talking to you guys as far as like cleaning up my rosters and things, but that's what's coming to the channel. We're gonna have what was always gonna be more of the fun second half. We get to send off A-Rod, everybody's favorite thing in the world. Wish him a warm farewell. Fare thee well into whatever dark, light, whatever, and plenty of appearances with Jessica Mendoza or whatever her name is on the broadcast. Yeah, this is messing me up. There's a couple Adam Warren cards because he was traded. So, but anyway, yeah. So I'm just out here to say, just we're all, we all there's so many games out there to play, and I tend to just like getting stuck into one at a time, and I just like learning one at a time. I don't like, feeling like I'm in a pressure to do anything. Just learn it, get it. So I had a professor in college who taught sophomore organic chemistry. I mean, he taught a lot of things, but a lot of organic chemistry stuff. Oh. One of the things he said about organic chemistry was you have to learn it in your gut. You've got to have, and what he means is like what he meant at the time was, there's lots of little functional groups and things. I mean, you guys don't want to hear about organic chemistry, but it's the same thing with this. You just have to get it to the point where you're rolling them dice, and you just know as you're playing it, oh yeah, that's a. And again, it's like, yeah, sometimes you have a little lapse in your brain and you say, oh, that's a fly ball question mark to the right fielder, and there's a guy on second, and there's only that's the first out. Can I should be able to take him in there. And so what's that rule? And you might have like a little brain fart. So if you have good cheat sheets written up, you can look at those, or you just grab your rule book and go. So anyway, beatbox. Who's beatboxing? Played classical violin for 10 years. Put it down 5 years. It sounded terrible. Never got back to where oh, come on, DJ John. Don't that's too bad. Hopefully you get maybe you'll have a chance to pick it up here at some point, you know. You have to I mean, you know, sometimes like my father, he played guitar for many years. He's kind of struggles with it now because he's progressing in age, and some of his dexterity as well as things like eyesight are kind of like, but you know, don't ever give up on that stuff, you know. I mean, unless you're just not having fun with it anymore, I can understand that. But you know, if you just think you're never going to get back there, don't I don't know. Don't ever write anything off. I feel like that's a good thing to say in life. You know, I'm another thing I've been doing this last week is playing a game called Football Manager. One of the followers of the channel and in the community here has kind of like stirred up my thing for that, and I've picked up a team that's just doing awful. But I got to keep having a hope. You know, I get down a little bit, but I just have to keep hoping that we turn it around. So, yeah, okay. So there are some things there. I see, DJ John. So, well, yeah, I hear you. That's Brandon Baker's music teaches music lessons. Nice. Yeah, I used to give some guitar lessons, but I don't know. Teaching isn't exactly my thing. You know, I started out the kid that I taught, and he's a pretty decent guitar player. But he was never like he never got to the point where he was just like shredding electric, which I wouldn't even call myself a shredder. I'm more like I love rhythm guitar. I'm a rhythm guitarist through and through, which there's a lot of rhythm guitarists, but I just always hung my hat on being able to keep a rhythm. I love playing the R&B stuff, uh, syncopated stuff, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, you know, I started him off just like trying to find a song that I thought he could relate to, and I picked. And granted, he's at the time he was relatively young, and it was like the 2000s. I picked the song "One of These Nights" by the Eagles, and I was trying to show him kind of like because he'd been fiddling around with guitar a little bit. I'm like, listen to the intro to this. You've got like and the first verse, like you've got three different parts there. You got this one guy doing this, and then you get into the verse, and before the verse, then you've got these bling. It's like holds, and so you've got those things, and they just they're just recorded over each other more or less, and then you get into the verse, and you got this and that's my kind of part right there. I just love the chunky, keeping the rhythm, keeping it going, just feeling the pulse. Yeah, man. I mean, I love playing bass too. That's the same kind of thing. You're just finding the pocket and rolling with it, man. So, the difference between the violin and the fiddle is the Mason Dictionary. Yeah, man. That's the difference between whiskey and moonshine. I know. No, this is probably not the greatest time to be joking about Southern accents. I'm sorry. So anyway, this has gotten into a bit longer of a discussion, but I just want to say I appreciate all of you. You know, we need to have, we want to have as much positivity as we can. I love that for the most part we do have that, unless I run a Phillies replay and I get a little weird. But you know, regardless of the situation, yeah, we just we need to have love for each other. Just make sure we keep that at the forefront, regardless of all of the emotions that we have. You know, if we feel we just got to do that. We got to we got to understand each other, and you know, if we do that, that's probably 90% of the battle is just, you know, not taking for granted that the other guy knows exactly what we're talking about every time we say it, and not thinking that we know what they're going through. So, because probably we don't. Okay. Anyway, and again, so my diatribe about getting to know the game, just not everybody's not everybody's in the same state as everybody. So just do it the way you like, but take it easy on yourself. Be good to yourself. You're you're an awesome human, and whether you pick it up on the first time or the 10th time or the 100th time, just keep at it. And again, be kind to yourself. Just don't get down too hard just because a stupid game doesn't quite get there for you the first time. So, all right, yeah, that's the not a fiddle until you spill beer on it, or you had something fly through the chicken wire and crack it up a bit. Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, that's exactly it. Treat others the way you want to be treated. Don't the old golden rule, right? So anyway, if you please hit the like if you can. I appreciate it. If you didn't like it, do what you got to do. But yeah, we're here for the fun of rolling dice. I got some new dice. That makes it pretty fun. You know what? I don't know if I showed you the other ones. Here, let me turn the light back on. So I got this guy. It's kind of a red one. I guess I don't know. That'd probably be better for Cardinals, but I just wanted to give some money to that store because they're open, and it's been a rough time for a lot of these small businesses. So this one's kind of a greenie, not the greenie that all those guys used to take in the '70s, but this is kind of a green with a little bit of like a turtle shell like looking thing to it, and then this is a red one. I'll probably just use them. I try to keep it close to the vest as far as like trying to get the colors right, but yeah. So it was the red and the blue like we were using here. So and this guy is kind of like a blue, dark blue, which is I like for the Yankees. I was missing that. I wanted a dice tower, but unfortunately, I'm gonna have to go looking on Amazon. If anybody, you know what, just to close out, if anybody has a pretty nice dice tower that they purchased, not too expensive. I'm thinking I'd like to be less than 40, but whatever. Green felt pretty much not so exotic as far as like not a bunch of like castle type looking stuff or not themed like a card game if possible. Just sort of like, I mean, I know I can make it myself, but I'm not very handy. Kind of a lame-o when it comes. And again, I should be nice to myself and say, you know what, I need to try some of this stuff and not like get discouraged because I pound my thumb every time I try to use a hammer. But my thumb is thanking me for not. I don't know. But if you have it, IndyCar stars up there, I'm gonna have to check that out. Yeah. All right. Thanks a lot, guys. Hit the like or subscribe or do whatever you want to do. Have fun. Roll some games, and I'll hand it off to whoever's ready to come up next here in the old YouTube land. See ya.